If you carry a firearm and discharge your weapon in self-defense, you could face hundreds of thousands of dollars in legal fees and expenses. So carry the protection of CCW Safe, Self-Defense Legal Services membership. Upfront payment of all criminal and civil defense costs with no out-of-pocket for members.
And we are back. Khalid Mohammed with you tonight. We are doing the Command 11 sit rep. We're gonna do this episode a little bit differently than what we normally do. There's a lot of things going on this side of the world that you guys are not made aware of in the Western media, and we're gonna lay this episode out. But I'm gonna have Stu run the conflicted question, and then we'll lay out the episode and how it's gonna run. Stu.
Okie dokie, here we go. So, those of you who have not been with us before for this, the way this works is I read this question off, comes from a game deck called Conflicted. And then we hold answers until the end of the show, and I'll come back and read it again. And we want to see your answers in the chat. So, here we go. After a meteor shower shattered the country and parts of the world, a war for resources broke out, which left the political scene in complete chaos. Your local community has been completely destroyed, and after months of struggling to survive, communists appear offering help. They can provide food, medicine, water, shelter, and the convenience that you haven't had in years. All they ask in exchange is that you join them. Disease and hunger have crippled your group, and your loved ones are suffering beyond belief. Would you join them or not? And why?
Dun dun dun.
Dun-dun-dun.
Yeah, that's a good question. The meteor shower is an interesting twist. That's an interesting twist.
Yeah, kind of wondering how that would destroy the world, but okay.
That's be a lot of meteors, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay. We've been talking a lot in the SDN episodes about what the Taliban and what the jihadis are doing, but we never had a chance to go in depth into what the jihadis are doing and how things are operating. The problem we've got right now that there are so many things changing so fast right now that it's almost like every half hour, 45 minutes, we're getting situation updates. Because not only is Afghanistan in flux, Syria is in flux as well, and if whatever happens in Afghanistan, it ends up being Haqqani takes over, it could affect a lot of plans and a lot of things that have been laid out to happen in other parts of the world, whether it be Europe or the United States. I've been telling a lot of people that, listen, October, be very watchful of what's going on in Europe, because I really believe that October is going to be the month where Europe kicks off, and that sets everything up for the US in November. November is going to be a build-up time in the US. There's a lot of movement. There's a lot of surveillance going on. I think a lot of you have noticed the ramp up of Antifa, and how much more violent they're becoming, how much more extreme they're becoming in their actions. We're going to dig into Antifa and the gangs and the cartels as well, and kind of pick up from where we left off last night with Chris and the whole group. And we're going to try and build this up a little bit so you all have a better understanding of what's going on this side of the world. Because the problem the Western media has is ever since the US pulled out of Afghanistan and Iraq, the news has disappeared, and you're not hearing anything that's going on in Afghanistan. And there are so many moving pieces now that if you don't understand those moving pieces, it makes it very difficult for you to prep on your side of the world, because we see it happening here. We see different tactics being used on our soil in Pakistan, and to get an understanding of that and how it translates into what's going to happen in Europe and in the US is very important for you to be able to prep for what's coming. So, Nick, you want to throw up that first link? Okay. Sarah kind of lost it today a bit. And she has every right to. 18, 20 months we've been talking about the terror threat to the US. And because of a Nobel Peace Prize, nobody's acting. Interesting thing, all the nominations for the Nobel Peace Prize had to be in by, I think it was the 10th or the 15th of January. Donald Trump was even president at that point. So a Nobel nomination made no sense. So Sarah went off and said, this damn Nobel Peace Prize pipe dream has become a dangerous obsession. We destroyed Afghanistan chasing it. Now Syrian terrorists were paraded on US soil. The Muslim Brotherhood designation never happened. And law enforcement priorities against Islamist terror have been put on the back burner. Meanwhile, Americans are trying to prepare while our government sits around waiting for a worthless trophy, doing nothing to help thwart the massive terrorist plot from this so-called peaceful region that's headed straight for our hometowns. Protect America, fuck the Nobel Peace Prize. And Sarah's dead on. Chris, S2, I'm going to hand it over to you, and then I'll add my comments.
Trump is not getting the Peace Prize. He of all people should understand that the people that control those nominations and the people that control handing that out hate him. He's not getting the Peace Prize. Fuck the Peace Prize. It's like getting that little gold trophy when you were a kid for showing up.
Yeah.
It's like, who cares? Who cares? He's got to let that ego shit go. I mean, he's the only reason he wants it is because Obama got it for doing nothing.
Yeah. And Obama didn't deserve it either. I mean, when he got it, he didn't even deserve it. But did you see what came out of Norway this past week? The Norwegians were saying that we are scared that if we don't give Trump the Nobel Peace Prize, he may retaliate.
To me, that would be the greatest honor. Having every freaking nation in the world scared shitless of you.
Look, S2, I want to dig into this because it's true. What Sarah said is absolutely true. Because of this stupid gold trophy, there is no kind of action going on in the US to counter anything that's happening. I mean, Antifa has been allowed to run free. The crazy Democrats have been allowed to run free. The Jihadis have been allowed to run free. Muslim Brotherhood is still a free organization. They have not been designated a terrorist group. Is it really worth it to put American lives at risk for a stupid trophy?
No. It's a very simple answer. We're pulling back everything right now because we have infrastructure that we are desperately trying to claw back. We're trying to claw back our military from DEI and woke and guys running around in dresses and shit. Yep. And that, while that is necessary, you need to take your guys that weren't running around wearing dresses and get them trained up and get them moving so you're ready for what's happening. And they're not, and I don't see any of that happening. Maybe there's something going on in the background we don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, but
we're busy fucking around with Venezuela and blowing up boats and
that makes no sense.
And getting selfie shots for that. Well, I believe that a lot of the threat that we're experiencing is a good portion of it is coming from Venezuela. I mean, we have all of the jihadis that we're training down in Venezuela, and we don't know they know what's coming over in those boats. They know who's in those boats and they know who's coming over. Yeah. So there is no doubt in my mind that those boats are easy. They're easy pickings.
Yeah.
But a lot of the threat is coming from Venezuela. So we're going to get squeezed from two different directions. And that's exactly what I started seeing with the invasion of our country with all of the illegals. We were getting squeezed from both ends, and everybody was talking about the southern border while nobody was looking at the northern border. And meanwhile, all of the jihadis are coming in through the northern border and populating places like Buffalo, New York, and places like that, and Michigan, and getting Social Security numbers.
Yeah. We've got I think you saw it in the brief. there's a nice little picture of a CDL license where you can, it's allowed, an illegal is allowed to vote with a temporary CDL license, which
Yeah.
just shocked me. I mean, I'm going to pick up from what you were saying. We have actually found that inside of the Canadian Armed Forces, there are 4 ISIS wings operating for recruiting and training inside the Canadian Armed Forces.
Well, Canada did go full commie, so that's
Yeah.
it's not surprising.
It's just the problem I've got is, look, because of a stupid trophy, you have put U.S. national security at risk. And the things you should have been doing from day one, from the day you took office, you have put on the back burner and said, wait. Maybe I'll get the trophy. 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 And it looks like now that Trump has kind of realized that he's not going to get it, he's ramping stuff up. He's kicking the military into play. He's kicking the National Guard into play. He's hitting Venezuela harder. The game has changed now.
Yeah, it changes on a daily basis. I mean, one of the other things we're not looking at, and I know we're going to get to that in the brief, is we're not looking what other countries are doing in conjunction with our enemies.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't want to call Russia an enemy, but I will call China an enemy.
China is an enemy.
Yeah, Russia has their own interests, and whatever they are, it's not necessarily directed at the United States.
Yeah,
I don't think.
Yeah, but the problem I have with that is that, look, Russia is baiting NATO with all of the drone overflights. Europe. They're baiting NATO, and when you bait NATO, you're trying to pull the U.S. into a fight. And Trump, when he first came into power, he said, hold on, I'm not going to give weapons to Ukraine. And now he's saying, well, Putin disappointed me, and now I'm going to arm Ukraine. Why are you extending a war that cannot be won?
Give them the Tomahawk missiles with no guidance.
I mean, my point, personal viewpoint, was when they moved nuclear weapons into Great Britain again, into the UK again. That was the escalation that the U.S. said, okay, we've had enough of the crap. Either come to a peace treaty, or we're going to step in, and we're going to step in such a way that it is going to rock everybody's world. And there's going to be no, I'm sorry, and I didn't mean it, and, we didn't want this to happen. Trump has been very clear that he's only going to tolerate things to a certain point. And at that point, when he goes, that's it, pull the trigger, it's game on. And there's he's getting more and more pissed at Bibi every day. Yeah. But Trump said the other day in the Oval Office, he said, no, I didn't say, why do you have to be so negative? I don't know if that was Trump covering for a statement, or if that was him saying, no, I really didn't say that. I wasn't paying attention. There's too much going on right now for me to be paying attention to that. From every side. I mean, 2 nights ago on the SDN broadcast, I said, Seb Gorka was just in Afghanistan, and nobody knew. And he didn't bring Joe Kent with him either. He didn't bring Tulsi with him either. He came all by himself with Zalmay Khalilzad and sat down with the Taliban to negotiate Bagram. Now, I said that night, I said, listen, Bagram will only be handed over on 2 conditions. Number 1, you recognize the Taliban as the legitimate government of Afghanistan. Number 2, you open the consulates and the embassies. Half an hour before we went on air, the story went live. The discussion is open between the U.S. and Afghanistan to reopen embassies and consulates. And I went, there you have it. You've given them commanding control centers inside the U.S. I mean, Al-Qaeda, you invited an Al-Qaeda commander. Now you're inviting Al-Qaeda itself to come and sit on U.S. soil. Amazing. It just, I'm wondering when Donald Trump is going to wake up and realize that the advisors he has need to be removed. From Susie Wiles. As soon as he stops listening to Sebastian Gorka. Oh my God. I still don't know how Gorka got a job in this administration. He was fired in the first administration. How did he get a job in this one? Susie Wiles. Yeah. And Susie Wiles is cut it. I mean, think about it. Susie Wiles is bought and paid for by Qatar. So is Pam Bondi. So I mean, my problem starts here, and I'm gonna lay this out the way I see it. On one side, you talk about putting Muslim Brotherhood on the foreign terror list, on the banned organizations list. As long as Susie Wiles is there and Pam Bondi is there,
that's not going to happen.
That's not going to happen. So that means the radical political Islam that is spreading through the U.S. is going to continue to spread. Qatar is pumping money in behind. So that means your university is going to be more radicalized. Then you swing around, you look at Afghanistan and Syria, where you have Seb Gorka, Zalmay Khalilzad, and Tom Barak, who are 3 jihadis now. As far as I'm concerned, all 3 of them are jihadis, because you are singing the praises of the Taliban, you are singing the praises of Jolani, and those are both terrorists.
Yep. Okay, so moving on.
Yeah, next slide. Okay, the Taliban. Okay, the Taliban foreign minister Amir Muttaqi claims Afghanistan is terror-free and directly criticized Pakistan. After the 7th Moscow format meeting, Pakistan, China, Iran, and Russia issued a joint statement warning that terror networks, including ISIS, Al-Qaeda, TTP, ETIM, Jaish al-Adil, and BLA, continue to operate from Afghan soil. Pakistan, Russia, China, and Iran warned Afghan authorities to take effective, concrete, and verifiable actions to dismantle these groups and prevent their use of Afghan territory against neighboring states. Muttaqi must use its words carefully and take decisive actions against these terrorist organizations if the Taliban wants to preserve its government. Otherwise, Pakistan is not the enemy you want right now, especially with cracks widening between the Haqqani group and Tariq-i-Taliban Afghanistan, what we call the Taliban, and Trump demanding Bagram Air Base. You do not want a new enemy, and he's dead on right with this. This is one of our good friends. Taimur is a good friend of ours here in Pakistan. When you have the Haqqani network challenging the Taliban for leadership of Afghanistan, and you have, how do I say this nicely? India pumping money into Baloch Liberation Army, into the Tariq-i-Taliban Pakistan. And this is well known. This is not me saying it. I can quote you Western authors who have published books where they flat out said this. You do not want an enemy in Pakistan, because we have a military. We know how to fly planes. We know how to use bombs, and we will blow you off the planet. And thus far, we've been very civilized with you. We've kept saying stop. But if you're not going to stop, we will teach you a lesson you will not forget. And Afghanistan keeps poking the bear, thinking, they're not going to do anything. And the problem is that when we do decide to do something, you are going to have a very big problem, because we will not be subject.
Well, the problem with I wouldn't even say the problem. I think the problem they don't understand is that Russia and the United States made a grave mistake in getting involved in Afghanistan. And number one, it was because they didn't understand the tribal culture of Afghanistan. And they don't understand that these tribes will come together and they will confront a common enemy. Yep. Whereas Pakistan understands that tribal culture. So yep. They know how to counter it also.
We've leveraged it. We leveraged it when we created the Taliban. I mean, that was a huge. I've said this many, many times before. I'll say it now openly on the air. I believe that the strategic depth argument on Afghanistan from the Pakistani military was the biggest strategic mistake Pakistan could have ever made, hands down. But now we've learned our lesson. It took us 20 years to learn the lesson, but we finally learned the lesson. We have understood how to use the Afghani Pashtuns against the Afghani Pashtuns. And that's the biggest group inside of Afghanistan. When you support the Tajiks, when you support the Hazaras, when you support the Uzbeks, the various groups that are inside of Afghanistan,
you're supporting terrorists.
Well, the Pashtuns are the terrorists. The Pashtuns are the terrorists. That's the Taliban. The Tajiks is what used to be the Northern Alliance that was fighting against the
General, what's his nuts?
Yep, General Dostum. General
Yeah.
Dostum. Yep. That's who the Tajiks are. So when we align, and we told this to Ahmed Massoud when he came to Pakistan to discuss a potential alignment with Pakistan, we said the same thing to him, that if you have our support, look what we did to the Soviet Union. When we decided that was enough, that was enough. And Pakistan put full force behind, and that was the end of the Soviet Union inside of Afghanistan.
And you
If
know, it's really strange because when I think of this in terms of strategy, this is exactly what I think of, is rather than using full force strategy and using the heavy-handed tactics like the Soviet Union did at the time, and trying to, I mean, Soviet Union wasn't about nation building or anything like that. They were trying to preserve their communist government within Afghanistan,
Yep.
and that was the whole reason that they were there.
Yeah.
The United States, on the other hand, we were more concerned with nation building and spreading democracy. Yeah, look how well that's working out. Um, but yeah, it's the when I think of more diplomatic and more soft, uh, soft tactics,
Yeah.
like bringing in aid to the people that maybe more have a propensity to join up with the Taliban or other terrorist groups.
Yep. Yep.
The,
Well,
and I,
your advantage with the Tajiks is they'll never join a terror group. They refuse to. They will not do it. It's why Panjshir Valley has never been conquered.
well, you don't need to if you know your own terrain and you know your own people in the region,
Yep.
you can. And I mean, that's rough terrain. It's rough
That's
terrain
very
in
rough.
Afghanistan. That's why they say that's where empires go to die.
Yep. 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 But if you we've always we pitched this to when I say we, I mean the government of Pakistan. The government of Pakistan pitched this to Ahmed Massoud and said, look, we will give you our support for the National Resistance Front in Afghanistan to take on the Taliban. And it was Amirullah Saleh who convinced Ahmed Massoud not to do it. And that was the biggest mistake he made, because if you had taken that support, and this was right after Trump came into office when we sat down with Ahmed Massoud. And if he had taken that support, the picture would be very different in Afghanistan now, because you would have had Pakistan's air support on top of your on top of your ground forces, and it would have changed the battleground.
Well, you know why Trump wants Bagram back, right?
Yeah.
We're not getting any intelligence out of that region now. Bagram was an NSA station for SIGINT collection.
Yep. I know. But see, the problem with Bagram is China won't allow it. Russia will definitely not allow it. And those are your two biggest investors in Afghanistan. That China and Russia, if they back off of Afghanistan, the Taliban government will collapse. So the Taliban's going, okay, wait a minute. If we give Bagram to the US, that means we lose our two biggest investors. And if we lose our two biggest investors, that means not only do we lose our legitimacy as a government, but we don't have any more money. And you know how the
$1 million a week from us.
Yeah, but the amount of money that China is kicking in for the mining rights in Badakhshan province for the rare earth minerals is unbelievable.
You mean the theft of the rare earth minerals? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Because those, according, and this is again me, I'm going to speculate here because I have seen some things, but I can't, put a document in front of somebody to say, yeah, this is what it is. When the U.S. was withdrawing and they put the Doha Accords down, in the secret annexes, Bagram was supposed to belong to the U.S. for 100 years. And all the rare earth minerals were supposed to belong to the U.S. for 100 years. So part of Trump being pissed off is the deal he negotiated, they went against it. And they're still getting paid.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think that's another reason why the New York Times did a beautiful whitewash on Sirajuddin Haqqani. You talk about the most brutal terrorist against U.S. forces during the 20-year attack, the time that the U.S. was in Afghanistan. That's Sirajuddin Haqqani. He killed more U.S. forces than any other terrorist. in all of Afghanistan, and you whitewashed him. New York Times did a big story on him, little kid to grown up, how he became a terrorist, why he became a terrorist. And I was reading the articles going, are you kidding me? Are you spitting on your own people by, whitewashing this guy?
Wow, this is a new one on here tonight. Venerable Al is here tonight. I think I saw him out on X today.
Really?
Yeah.
We've got new people bouncing in and out. This is good.
I'm telling you.
S2, take us. Remember back when the Soviets invaded and how the U.S., Saudi Arabia, and Pakistan worked together with the Mujahideen to beat the Soviets.
Yeah, yeah. And I think there was a smattering of Israel in there too.
There was a smattering. But as soon as the U.S., as soon as the Soviets were defeated, the U.S. shut the door on Pakistan and said, "Okay, all the jihadis we've created, well, you deal with them. They're not our problem." And Pakistan became overrun. We had an extremist problem. We had a terrorist problem. We had everything in Pakistan all of a sudden. Then when the Taliban kicked in and they grew up, and then they invited Osama bin Laden into Afghanistan, it was beyond control. And when Pakistan stood with the U.S. as a frontline state, the Taliban got pissed off at us and said, well, if you're going to take the U.S. aside, then you become an enemy of ours. And that is where all of these attacks against Pakistan started, from the Taliban side, that they said, okay, if you're going to stand with the U.S., you're an enemy of ours. And that continues to this day. The U.S., and we said this in an episode a long time ago, that the U.S. makes a decision at the time that makes sense, but they don't think about how to roll back the decision once it's over.
Yeah, we just go in and break shit.
Yeah, because I was shocked. I mean, I had speculated that Khalilzad was still an employee of the State Department. I was shocked this week when Sarah posted it and said he's still drawing a salary, and he's still the representative to Afghanistan. I went, are you kidding? I was joking when I said that. This guy is. We have the worst ambassadors right now. The worst ambassadors, from Barak in Syria to Khalilzad in Afghanistan to Seb Gorka sitting next door to the president. I mean, you are talking about the worst trio that could have ever been created.
Amazing. So what's in our next piece here?
Yeah, Nick, let's put the next one up. Here we go again. Foreign military presence in Afghanistan strengthen extremists, says the Irani diplomat. If you can play the video, Nick, I'm not even going to bother reading it. Go ahead and play the video.
در مورد حضور نظامی خارجی در افغانستان ما یک تجربه حاصل از یک قرن اخیر رو داریم که همواره حضور نظامی خارجی در افغانستان عامل بی‌ثباتی بوده، عامل تقویت افراط‌گرایی بوده، تزریق ناامنی به کشورهای منطقه بوده و طبیعتاً دشواری‌ها و گرفتاری‌هایی که هم برای مردم افغانستان و هم برای کشورهای منطقه تولید کرده.
Can you stop it there, Nick?
In other words, foreign military presence on our soil creates terrorists.
Yeah. I mean, are you serious? Are you serious? The foreign military is there because of the terrorists. Terrorists didn't get created because of them. The statement shocked me so much that I went, are you kidding? Is he really saying this? That because of the foreign militaries, you have terrorism? I'm going to leave this to you, as to. I mean, I'm not even going to go anywhere with this. This made zero sense to me.
Yeah.
The terrorists came along because of the foreign militaries. Are you kidding me? Are you serious? Let's put the next one up.
Well, I'll just say this about it. So one of the reasons why Osama bin Laden went nuts was because he was one of the Mujahideen. And when Bush cut off all of his funding to his group, then they were kind of left blowing in the wind and they were getting attacked left and right. So bin Laden basically, I'm not justifying anything. I'm just throwing some facts out there that, you know, he got ticked off because Bush slammed the door on him and said, "No more for you. Sorry. Bye. Thanks for the help." And
interesting point. Since you brought up bin Laden, During the Mujahideen time, Bin Laden was a very junior commander. He wasn't even senior in the Mujahideen circles. It
Yeah.
was once he created Al Qaeda, then he became a force. But during the Mujahideen time, he was like a T-boy.
Well, he became that force because he was able to recruit. That was his biggest. That just like Jolani, that was his biggest trait that he could exploit.
Yeah, yeah. Because Bin Laden at the time was just a T-boy. I mean, I have read so much into Bin Laden, and Bin Laden during the Mujahideen time was not even a force to be reckoned with. But during the conference they just had in Moscow, the Moscow summit, as they called it, and we've got another interesting one coming up, the Arab Russia summit in Moscow, where they're bringing Jolani to Moscow, along with all of these other Muslim countries. India, Iran, Kazakhstan, China, Kyrgyzstan, Pakistan, Russia, Tajikistan, Uzbekistan joined together to oppose U.S. taking over Bagram military base in Afghanistan, says a joint statement after key talks in Afghanistan. Okay. If Trump wants something, he will take it, whether you like it or not. But I don't understand. Where these countries are saying no, the U.S. cannot take Bagram. If the U.S. when the U.S. wanted to invade Afghanistan, they invaded Afghanistan. There was no way they could stop them.
A contract is a contract.
Yeah.
The Taliban signed that contract. They need
Yeah.
to honor their contract, regardless of what these other nations say.
Well,
if Bagram was supposed to belong to the United States for 100 years, and the mining rights were supposed to belong to the United States for 100 years, they need to honor their contract. And
well, I think
even their tribal leaders would say that.
Yeah. But I think the best motivator is for Trump to cut off the money, because as long as they're still getting paid and they don't honor the contract, they shouldn't be getting paid.
Well, and that's probably why they're still getting paid, is he's using that as a, pardon the pun, trump card to be able to say, you're not getting no Bagram, no money. I'm done.
Because look, Bagram is a strategic base. There was an article written in the National Interest. That's the publication name, The National Interest. There was an article written by a Tajik female about why Bagram is so important, and completely agree with her. Completely agree with her on the points she laid out. Number one, the U.S. needs its own intelligence network inside of Afghanistan.
Yep.
Because
that's what I just said.
You cannot trust the Taliban.
That's what I just said. We're not getting anything out of Afghanistan, and that was an NSA collection point there. So by reestablishing that collection point, plus the fact it is one of the highest sitting areas in that region, and it makes it perfect for that kind of activity. So you get to see everything, you get to hear everything, and if you have people on the ground there again, then you have people that are getting real intelligence coming out of the area versus getting it secondhand.
Yep. Well, we never understood why the U.S. didn't maintain some kind of presence. We all didn't understand this. That you would figure that the CIA would keep some kind of a small cell someplace there. They keep some level of the former NDS, the Afghani intelligence, that they would keep that level of that level operating inside there. But all of the NDS took off. They went to Europe and the US and they disappeared and said, no, we're not going to stay. You lost the intelligence gathering capabilities that you had. And because of that, Afghanistan has spun completely out of control. Completely out of control. And
Biden was getting paid by China to leave. That's why.
Yeah. And China did very well in moving in very quickly.
Doherty makes a really good point here too, is because Bagram is also close to China's nuclear bases.
Yeah, and that's what Trump has said as well, is that we can actually we're an hour away from China's nuclear sites if we get Bagram back, and he's absolutely right. But how do you negotiate with the Taliban now? Because the Taliban put together. I mean, when Trump first said, "I want Bagram back," the Taliban said, "We want $1 billion. We want you to make us the legitimate government of Afghanistan, and we want you to open our consulates in the U.S." Once the U.S. recognizes the Taliban, then Europe will as well. every other Western country will as well. And you have moved command and control centers into every country of the world. And that's the fear we all have, is if the Taliban and Al-Qaeda move into the US, Europe, Australia, New Zealand, you have command and control centers for terror attacks. And Trump said, okay, wait, no, not 1 billion. I'll give you 300 million. And no consulates, no legitimacy yet. First, we have to see you run, see you operate, and then we'll make a decision on whether we make you legitimate or not.
I don't think it's up to Trump to make them legitimate. That should be left to the Afghan people.
Again, the problem is, it's just like with Syria. Syria has an election coming up. I think it's the 17th or 18th of this month. Jelani has already said, nobody else can stand against me. I will be present, period, end of story. That mean, when you have a dictator in charge, he's not going to let somebody, the Taliban is not going to let somebody run against them. That's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
You would literally have to invade again just to have an election, to let the Afghani people decide.
I'm talking in a perfect world, the Afghan people should be able to decide. I mean, that's kind of what they all thought they were doing anyways, is they were fighting to decide the future of their country. A phrase taken from some movie that I watched about Afghanistan.
Yeah. But again, to be really honest, if there was an election in Afghanistan today, a free and fair election in Afghanistan today, Ahmed Massoud would win hands down. Hands down, he would win, because he's got the support of the people. But the Taliban would never tolerate that. Never would they tolerate that.
Okay, so moving on.
Yep.
What do we got?
The next slide is also Afghanistan. An article in the Telegraph in the UK, the West could wake up in a few years and find a fully isolated, surveillance fortified Afghanistan aligned with Beijing and Moscow. This is absolutely 100% true. Beijing is investing so much money into cameras and surveillance systems inside of Afghanistan. Kabul is littered. The last time I was in Kabul, it is littered now with cameras. The Taliban can see anybody on any street, anywhere in the city, day or night. And they're spreading that network throughout Afghanistan. Russia is providing all kinds of money, all kinds of support, all kinds of training to the Taliban. And that training is rolling on into other terror groups. So I completely believe that that's true, that if you don't reverse Afghanistan right now, it's lost forever. And it will be a state controlled. It will be a state controlled by Beijing and Moscow, as compared to back in the 70s, before the Mujahideen kicked in. It was controlled by India and Moscow at that time. They got one of the Pashtuns to rise up. The Soviets came and killed King Zahir Shah, who was a very liberal king. That was when Kabul had mini skirts and clubs and alcohol and everything. They killed the king. They installed a Pashtun as the leader, and then they had the Sour Revolution. Once the Sour Revolution failed, then they marched in their troops and took over the country. So, I mean,
I don't think China really, maybe they do, maybe they don't. I don't think they really understand that this kind of thing didn't work out so well for other nations that tried to invade Afghanistan. They think going in there with the soft tactics, that the tribal leaders up in the mountain people and those folks, that they're going to put up with their bullshit.
No, they're not. I mean, they're learning it right now. I mean, in Badakhshan, the province that literally borders China, they are learning right now, because that's where all the rare earth minerals are. And when they're mining there, they have to move in a battalion of PLA soldiers to protect them. So they already know that they are not in shits and giggles where they are right now. And if the Taliban decides that's enough, we've had enough of these Chinese and we're going to wipe them out, they will wipe them out. But China will bomb the hell out of Afghanistan. They won't even hesitate.
How accurate was the movie to Mr. Wilson's war in regards to reality? Doherty, it was very accurate.
Very accurate. Very accurate. Yeah, that I can tell you, it was very accurate. That was probably, I think, 80% fact and 20% fiction. I'll put it that way. It was 80% fact. Just unbelievable how literally close they came to portraying the whole story of what really happened. You want to put the next to the US. Following our demand for discovery related to Portland Police's coordination with Antifa, the Multnomah County DA has announced they will decline to prosecute me. After a careful review of the investigation, including reports and video, we do not believe the crime of disorderly conduct can be proven against Mr. Sorter beyond a reasonable doubt. I still don't know how he was arrested. He was defending it.
Sherlock moment. Actually, what he got arrested for was stopping Antifa from burning the American flag.
Yep. Which I don't understand why they arrested him. You stop somebody from burning the American flag, you should be patting him on the back, not arresting him.
Because the Portland police are in on it. That's why. You've seen all of the videos.
Yeah, we've got a video coming up. We've got a video coming up of the Portland police guiding Antifa on how to make sure they don't get, prosecuted for certain crimes. Nick, you want to pop the next one? Because I think the next one is the video, and I want to get the video in, and then you and I will continue talking about this, S2. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I'm the one who got stabbed in 2020. You ain't got the balls to do it, though.
That's a death
You ain't got the balls to do it.
That's a death threat.
You ain't got the balls to do it, so keep yapping your mouth like a
That's a death threat. Why don't you go arrest
It's
me?
harder for the judge.
You arrest me for protesting in the street.
We have a good reason why we actually need them. So that's why we're asking people to get out of the street.
Is it illegal for you to get out of the street?
They could arrest you, but
Hey,
we're
yeah.
asking you guys voluntarily, let's just get on the sidewalks. Because if a car comes through and hits somebody, it's a better way for the government to say we can be defensive.
And we do definitely need the feds. We definitely need the feds in here. Because your mayor is terrible. It's giving you terrible orders. You guys should be able to work with ICE. You should be able to work with ICE.
S2, I'm going to leave this one to you because
I don't even know what to make of that. I mean, during the 2020 stuff that was going on, I saw a lot of sympathizing going on, even to the point of where we had people that were on our side going over at some of these. So the Patriots were having rallies left and right after the 2020 stuff. And Antifa would show up to counter protest. And we had some of our people that were actually going over and having conversations with Antifa. And I was pointing it out to people. I'm like, and then come to find out later on that some of these people that I was pointing out were actually infiltrating into the Patriot groups. And I outed a lot of them really quick when I found that out. But looking at the politicians and the police or law enforcement in general, I mean, there are sheriffs out there that are on their side too. And it's, I keep saying the book Wrath of the Wendigo is what we're living through right now.
Yep. Do you know where we can find the original version of that? Because that one doesn't exist anymore.
The Wrath of the Wendigo?
Yeah, all the copies are updated now. There've been a lot of changes.
I have. So, do you know who wrote it, right?
I've forgotten now.
It's Clay Martin who wrote it.
Okay.
He's ex-Special Forces, ex-Marine.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, he wrote the book. He wrote it like 2-3 years ago.
Right.
So I don't know if we're talking about the same book.
Maybe we're talking about a different book because the book I was thinking of was written like 10, 15 years ago.
Oh, no. Clay wrote this about 2 or 3 years ago. I've got an
Okay.
original copy of it.
Okay. That must be my mistake, because I was thinking it's Mason's book, The Siege.
Oh, yeah. I actually have an original of that.
Yeah. I found one online. I found a PDF copy. I downloaded the original copy online, but
Yep.
it's been changed so much that you don't even recognize the book anymore.
Yeah, no, I've got the original printing of that, and I've read it. I mean, that guy was a nut job.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, if anybody reads Clay Martin's Wrath of the Wendigo, you'll understand what we're living through right now, because Clay was very prophetic when he wrote this book. And I'm even to the point where I have conversations with him occasionally now to say, "Hey, dude, can we just skip to the part where we drop a grenade down Schumer's shorts?"
Nick, let's run the next slide. Okay. Portland police refused to arrest an Antifa militant who threw a cup of urine in the face of a conservative journalist this morning, despite it happening right in front of them. Go ahead and play the video, Nick.
So right here. There's no police. There was a fucking marathon today.
How do you not say they're not in cahoots? I mean, how do you not say it?
Well, they have their orders from the mayor. That's one thing. The other part of it is their laws out there are a little different than other places in the country, where they're a little more lenient into what they consider to be assault. I mean, to me,
You have to explain that one. That one you have to explain.
I really can't, because it makes absolutely no sense. I mean, like throwing a cup of urine on somebody, was there any bodily harm that happened to him? No.
No.
Okay, well, then that's not assault. That's the way they think about it.
Are you kidding?
No, I'm not kidding.
So you could actually spit on a cop and it wouldn't be considered assault, like it is in the Midwest. Like in Michigan, if you spat on a cop, you were going down. You were going to jail.
I mean, Antifa could. They could do it and get away with it.
Just unbelievable.
But Antifa doesn't spit on our cops and get away with it. We've seen that.
Yeah. Did you see? I think the next slide is the Chicago mayor making his declaration of Chicago Mayor Brandon Young has signed an executive order creating ICE-free zones, and they have banned ICE police officers from city property. This guy is just amazing. I mean, he gave a press conference today, and he said, I think some people on the right want a rematch of the Civil War. And I'm going, are you stupid? Do you understand what you're saying, that you want a rematch of the Civil War? Are you literally calling for people to come out on the streets with weapons and fight in Chicago?
People that talk like that have no idea what they think they know.
No, I mean, did you see the police chief's press conference? The Chicago police chief.
No, I didn't see that one.
Chicago police chief did a press conference, and he said, number one, we will support any.
Oh, yeah, I did see that. I did see that.
He turned around, he spat on the governor, he spat on the mayor, and said, no. We are law enforcement, and we will protect our law enforcement. They put out another statement later in the day, and they said, any assault on a police officer in Chicago will be answered with deadly force.
There you go.
Which really makes me wonder, what is Brandon Johnson going to do when his police force turns on him?
Well, for starters, Brandon Johnson is going to be in violation of federal statutes if he goes through with what he says he's going to do, and has any kind of action behind that when ICE gets involved. Tom Homan would have the right to send law enforcement in there and perp walk him out of there in cuffs.
Yeah. We would hope. I mean, Tom Homan, the other night, we ran a video of him last night, and he said, I don't understand why we put these illegals into hotels rather than putting them into ICE jails and putting them in front of a judge 35 days later to have their first hearing. And that's the thought process we need running from every police force in the U.S.
Well, rumor has it right now that Pam Bondi is getting ready to file charges against Alejandro Mayorkas for
Really,
for enabling the invasion.
that would be huge. That
Yes,
would
it
be
would.
huge. Because if you can get Mayorkas and get him in the dock on this, that would change things. Because that would put the facts out in front of everybody that how many illegals he actually let into the country, and that would ruin the Democrats for the midterm elections. That would just that would
Ruin them
end of
forever.
yeah.
I mean, I think they're already ruined forever. I don't see any way back from this.
13% approval rating. I mean, come on, how do you recover from that?
Yeah, I said I don't see any way that they're going to come back from this. They're going to have to. There's going to have to be a revolution, as what they're planning right now, to kick off in 2026. That is, if the jihadis don't start at first.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got the United Auto Workers Union out there that is planning in collusion with all of the other unions out there to do a nationwide strike in order to cripple the United States economy.
Yeah. That makes no sense.
These are acts of terrorism. These leaders of these unions all need to be arrested. I mean, they're publicly saying it. They're not hiding it.
Yeah. Do you remember? I'm gonna pop something back into your memory. Do you remember the People's Palestinian Conference for whatever it was that happened, about 2 months ago, where they said to choke the economic supply lines in the U.S.
Yep.
When I heard the UAW was going on strike, I went, "That's what they said. That's what they said they wanted to do, was to choke the economic supply lines."
Yeah, they're working with the Democratic Socialists of America on this.
Yep. Very true. Very true. We're going to throw a message from Chris in, and then we're going to come back to you guys.
The world is getting more dangerous and unpredictable every day. Your family's safety depends on how prepared you are. For just $7.99 a month or $74.99 a year with 2.5 months free, Survival Dispatch Guardian membership gives you powerful tools and resources to stay ready. When you join, you're automatically enrolled in the Survival Dispatch Emergency Notification System, and you'll get critical alerts fast. You'll also get an invite to our private high-traffic signal chat where members and experts share breaking intel. Guardians receive all 37 of our Survival Dispatch Insider e-magazines, normally $9.99 each, a $370 value, plus early access to our exclusive instructional videos before they go public. Join thousands of like-minded Americans who refuse to be caught off guard. Become a Survival Dispatch Guardian today at www.survivaldispatch.news/subscribe.
All right.
That's new.
Yeah, we've got this nice promo that we run now. Before we jump forward, on Sunday nights, we've been talking about this since last Sunday. Sunday nights now at 7:00, we will be running, what did Chris call it? Chapter 3. It's all videos that are fun and lighthearted, because we talk about such serious topics throughout the week. We need a day, maybe Saturday and Sunday we might do, but Sunday right now we decide will be chapter 3 day, and we'll do 2 hours of just funny videos. So I wanted to throw that in there. Nick, pop that slide back up again. Slide it up so they can see where it's circled. Right there. Use this temporary driving certificate for driving or voting purposes.
That's in South Carolina, dude.
Yeah. This is the CDL license that was given to people when they came in. And it specifically says for voting purposes. You're letting illegals vote.
Wow.
I found this one. I just went, oh my God. That plus we saw Biden in the 2020 census skipped 14 states. Didn't do the census on 14 states.
Interesting. Well, I will say about the CDL license thing, you go to where there's a truck stop, and on every corner there's a sign out there that says you can get your CDL test here for $40
Yeah.
or something of that nature. So,
Yep.
when we started having the problems with the foreign truckers that was occurring, that was immediately what came to my mind was you've got these, and I think it's a bunch of Indian companies out here that are actually doing this.
It is. Yep, it is. It is. Plus, you've got I don't know if you've seen the video, the guy that's got the earpiece and a body cam. And while he's taking the test, there's somebody telling him in his ear A, B, C, or D. And he's circling those answers so he can pass the CDL exam. Can't read a lick of English, can't drive to save his life, and he can pass the CDL that way. We now, I don't know if you saw this or not, there's a new scam running. There's an NGO that's been set up that sells you an H-1B visa for $4,000.
Oh, that's been going on. I mean, that's how they're getting a lot of these illegals into the. They're
Yeah.
not illegals necessarily, but that's been going on, and then
Well, they
they'll pass their visa off to another family member who has the same last name. Because like in India, it's all Patel.
It's
They'll
all
pass that. Yeah,
you're saying.
yeah. It's amazing. They just pass it off, and one comes over, one goes back.
Yep, and it's always an Indian I detailed this on our X. The way it works is that an Indian or a Pakistani or an Arab in the Middle East or in the US secures a job, says, I'll have someone for you in X number of days. They give that order to a travel agent back in India or Pakistan, and then it costs anywhere from 600,000 rupees, which is about $10,000, from $10,000 all the way up to $15,000. And you can buy a visa to any country, whether you speak the language, whether you know how to work, whether you know how to do the job. Pay the money, get your visa, go to the West.
So, Nick, can you put up the comment from Shannon Grady at 7:56 p.m.? So she's in SC and she says not a voter registration. It's just an ID you can use with your voter ID. That is true. North Carolina now also has voter ID. South Carolina has voter ID as well. However, in North Carolina, if you don't have an ID, you don't have to apply for the voter ID, which is the dumbest thing I'd ever heard. When I heard it, I was like, "Are you kidding me?" But anyway,
no, the U.S. is being invaded. I mean, there was a paper done, I think it was by the United Nations, called Migration Warfare, and that's exactly what's going on right now in the U.S. People are being flooded.
I have that paper as well.
Yep, it is completely true. They've done it right. They followed everything the UN said in that paper, and anyone can figure it out once you read it.
It's directly implicated in it anyway.
Yeah, but I really don't. Here's my question for you: when you have so many illegal CDL licenses being given out, you have all these people on the roads causing horrific accidents, and there's got to be a reason that they've been brought into the country. It's not just because they needed a job. There's something else that they're here for. I mean, I fully believe all the Chinese that are driving trucks right now are not here to drive trucks. They're part of a invasion warfare level of thinking that the Chinese are thinking of. Because
it's replacement theory.
Interesting. Because I saw that a lot of companies are laying people off, saying
and then hiring illegals
H-1Bs
in their place.
Yep.
Yeah.
They say it's an AI, and we're firing 10,000 people because AI is more affordable. And the next thing you know, they've hired all these illegals.
Yeah, it's not AI. In fact, there was a scam a while back about some online produce company that they were claiming was AI or something along those lines, and then you come to find out that it actually wasn't AI. It's a bunch of Indians behind the scenes that are doing all of the work, and then they present it like it's AI that's actually doing it.
Yeah. Just a question for you. I mean, I know you read a lot. Have you done any reading into the RSS in India? Do you understand what they are?
No, I haven't been reading a lot about them.
Okay, there's two groups. There's the RSS that's contained inside of India, and then there's the HSS that is global, kind of like Hezbollah has Hezbollah in Lebanon, and 910 that operates in the rest of the world. RSS was created with the Nazi SS ideology. That's what they're carrying forward, is that mentality. Do you think that these Indians that are infiltrating into the US are coming with that ideology?
It's very possible. I have not encountered any, but then again, I don't travel in those groups. So
okay, because I've seen a lot of videos come up lately where, you know, the houses have caught on fire because of Indian rituals. Parks have been taken over by Indians in the US to performing their rituals. So I started to wonder, is it possible that this is the ideology that's slowly infiltrating into the US? Because they did it in Canada very successfully.
I just think it's pure communism is what they're trying to creep in here. Honestly, it can't be. It can't be anything else.
No, it can't. It really can't, because the sheer number of foreign workers that are coming in on H-1Bs, on CDL licenses, illegal visas, you don't. It's like America said, okay, come. We are the great melting pot. We are diversity incorporated. Come and take over our country. And then when the US figures out what's going on, they're going, uh-oh, how do we stop this?
Well, Missouri has the right idea. They're pulling I think it's Missouri and Arkansas that's doing this, is they're pulling over truck drivers, and if you don't speak English, they're impounding your truck.
Wow, that's two states.
And deporting your ass.
They're actually deporting you.
I believe that's what they're doing, yeah.
Wow, that's interesting. That is really interesting. I didn't know Missouri. I knew Arkansas was. I didn't know Missouri was as well.
I could swear Missouri was doing it too, because it's Sandra Huckabee down there that I think first announced that.
Okay. Nick, you want to put up the next slide, because this one's a fun one. Did you know that during the George Floyd riots in Portland, a black person was stabbed and nearly paralyzed by a white man who got a deal where he didn't have to do any prison time? Why? Because the white man is a pedophile Antifa member. I mean, can it get any worse than that?
Well, RAG in South Carolina basically has refused to prosecute 92% of the cases involving pedophiles.
Yeah, I saw that. Oh my God. On one side, you've got Jay Jones. On the other side, you've got this crap going on. What is happening?
It's biblical. That's all I can say. It's biblical.
What blew me away was Trump's answer to the question today when he was asked if he would give Ghislaine Maxwell a presidential pardon. He said, "Well, I'll talk to the Department of Justice and see."
Yeah, that's not happening.
I was like, "Are you kidding?" And then he goes, "Well, Puff Daddy asked me as well if I'd give him a presidential pardon. Sex trafficking, kidnapping, and you got 4 years? Really? 4 years?"
I don't think he was convicted on the sex trafficking piece of
No,
it.
they dropped the sex trafficking. They dropped the sex trafficking, which was just amazing.
We're seeing the final emergence of the pedophile networks that are being dismantled.
Yeah,
they're pissed, and they're doing everything they can do to just screw the whole legal system up, and I believe that's really where it starts.
Yeah. What do you know about this? Is it Andy Bray or is it Mark Bray, the guy who wrote the Antifa handbook, who's fled to Spain now because he was afraid of being? Can you do some background on him? Because I don't know a lot about this guy.
He's a professor. I forget where he started. I think he started off at Dartmouth College.
Yep. And he was at Rutgers now. He was at Rutgers now.
Yeah. but yeah, he wrote the Antifa handbook, which is really a piece of garbage. I mean, I read it. It's communist propaganda is all it is. But he's just another one of those people that came up through the ranks as a rich white kid, as most of these Antifa folks are, or at least the ones that I've seen out there.
Okay.
There's not other than that, there's really not a whole lot to talk about with him.
Okay. And do you think by going to Spain he can avoid prosecution? Because there are Antifa cells in Europe as well. I think in Germany there's a lot of Antifa cells.
Well, they just recently located the two leaders that started Rose City Antifa.
Yep.
And they found them in I think it's Velgar, Sweden, I think is where they located them.
Yep.
But the thing of it is that Trump needs to up the game with this. If he's going to designate them a terrorist organization, he needs to make them a foreign terrorist organization. Okay. And here's why. Because there is an organization called Antifa International. And they're funded by Roy Neville Singham, who is an American billionaire living in China.
Yep.
And he has been providing material support and funding to Antifa. So when you designate Antifa as a foreign terror organization, now you can go in and start to dismantle their financial network. I'm sure that somebody in the Trump administration has this financial network all mapped out between Singham and his wife, who, by the way, Code Pink is his wife's group, if you didn't know that.
Yeah.
So they can go in and start to dismantle that from a foreign point of view and be able to take the funding away. Now, I'm not going to say, yep, there you go. I'm not going to say that dismantling their financial means is going to stop them completely, but it certainly will slow things down. And it also gives you the ability at that point to actually go after them with RICO, because then it becomes a conspiracy.
Right. But the way that Trump is thinking, can he actually designate them as a foreign terror organization?
Yes.
Because
Antifa operates globally. Antifa operates globally. They have part of their organization that's called Antifa International. They are a foreign terrorist organization. Their money is coming from a foreigner. Well, he's an American, but he's living in China.
Yeah, he's an American based abroad.
Yeah.
But what Stu was talking about is the slide that's up right now. Neville Roy Singham. This is what Stu was just talking about. So you can get some detail on him here. That's why we popped the slide. Sold his IT consulting firm, $782 million, and then he turned around and gave $20 million to the People's Forum, and the People's Forum was then used to pump out money into these groups. It's just unreal. George Soros, there's been no action on him. Nothing on Singham.
George Soros has not given near the amount of money that Singham has given them.
Really? Because everyone talks about Soros putting so much money in.
Well, Soros gives his money to the NGOs. That way, he gets to use plausible deniability. I don't know what these places are doing with this money. Singham knows exactly what he's doing because he's doing it under the direction of Xi Jinping. You don't get to live in China as a millionaire for nothing
without paying the tax to Caesar.
Right.
Okay. But help me understand, because you know Antifa better than I do. Help me understand, with all the funding coming into Antifa and a lot of it coming from abroad, how can they trace this funding? Because obviously it's not coming through the banks. It's not going to be, bank transfers where they can actually catch it that way. How is that funding coming into Antifa? Because I know the way IRGC operates, they're using crypto and they're using drug money to pay, the cartels that they're operating with, TDA and all the other cartels they're working with.
So Singham he's also a philanthropist. Okay. And
Okay.
with that, that basically means that he has a philanthropy organization that's set up. I don't know how it's set up. I haven't delved into that piece of it yet.
Okay.
But if he's giving money to these NGOs that have had themselves set up as a 501c3 or C4, but
Right.
one of those they don't have to show where their money's coming from, but the other one they do have to show where their money's coming from. The other problem what they have for the one that doesn't have to show where their money's coming from, they
Mhm.
can't do any kind of political activity if they're going to do that. So if
Okay.
you're a 501c3, you have to show where your money's coming from, and
Okay.
you have to show what you spent it on.
Okay.
So where did it go? And then from
Okay.
there, if they gave some of that money to other like 3 other NGOs, then
Right.
you have to trace that down the line to those other 3 NGOs. It's very time consuming and it's a web, but you will
Right.
eventually come to the end of the line where it stopped, where the money's being given out.
Is it kind of set up like how the mafia, cleans their money, where
Yeah.
they have, little shops and little places where they put the money in, they come back out, and they put the money in, it comes back out.
Yeah, well, I mean, another way that Antifa makes their money too is they write and publish books. They have these
Okay.
communist bookstores all over the country.
Okay.
And that's one way that they make their money. So for all you know, this small business book publishing or bookstore, I know that there's a publisher. There's one in Arizona. I know that for a fact because we encountered some of those folks down there. Um, but you don't know where their money's coming from because they're a private business. But
Right.
once again, if the NGOs are giving money in the way of grants to these small businesses for whatever, they have to show where that money went.
Okay. Okay.
And
Okay.
like I said, you eventually come to the end of the line, and then when you start looking at the individuals, there's hundreds and thousands of these folks that have been positively identified from mugshots and things like that. There's a website called antifawatch.org
Okay.
that they've gone through this whole project of cataloging all of the people that are in Antifa. Even they're still continuing it today. They started it with it I think in 2020, but they're still
Right.
continuing to add to it even today, as far as I know.
Okay. Okay.
But they've got a massive database with these people.
Okay. You got a question down here. Is the publisher in Arizona Headstamp Publishing?
That one doesn't ring a bell. Like I said,
Okay.
they have them all over the country, and there's obviously in states there's going to be more than one. I know of one of the bookstores that's in Asheville, North Carolina, called Firestorm, and that one got a lot of attention a few years back. That was
Right.
really when we started to find out about all of the transgender crap that they were pushing. Yeah, that was where we saw a lot of that, and where we actually found the source of where it was coming from.
Okay, now help me understand, help the audience understand, because I understand how a foreign terror organization gets classified. It has to go through the State Department, then into Congress. Does Trump have to do the same thing with Antifa? Does that work with just a signature, or does that also have to be an act of Congress?
I really don't know. I'll be honest with you, I don't know.
Okay, because I know when you declare an organization as a foreign terror organization, it goes to the State Department. State Department classifies it as such, puts a motion in front of the House. The House votes on it. If they pass it, then it goes to the Senate, and they try and pass it. I don't know if that's how it works with Antifa as well, because Antifa thus far is called a domestic terror organization. Trump has not classified them as a foreign terror organization yet. But when you look at the amount of money, like you just said, when you look at the amount of money coming from abroad, it's very difficult to not call them a foreign terror organization. And the question becomes, why did Trump not go that way to begin with?
Don't have an answer for that one either.
Okay, help me figure this one out. Trump is going active with the National Guard. He's going active with ICE. There is talk of the active duty military being put on the streets in certain areas where these riots have broken out. Where do you see Donald Trump going? What's his next step to stop what's going on in Portland, Chicago, and other cities? where Trans-Tifa, Antifa, all of these groups have started to become very violent.
Well, honestly, I think what he's doing with the National Guard and possibly the Marines is he is trying to provoke them. I mean, there are some conversations going on right now within Antifa. Let me read one of these. Hang on a second here. Come on. I'm working on my other machine here, trying to pull this conversation up while we're talking.
Right.
There it is. Okay, so they're talking about what if armed cop watch was revived. So
Right.
cop watch was something that Antifa did a while back, where they were just like similar to what they're doing with ICE. This is I'm in Chicago and ICE is absolutely tearing it up. They've grabbed kids from school, attacked an apartment building at midnight, and have arrested hundreds. That's a lie. In general, people here aren't armed between the FOID and the anti-gun sentiment. I've been saying in discussions with friends that ICE would behave a lot differently if citizens were visibly armed, like the Black Panthers cop watch.
Holy
They
crap.
are they argue ICE would shoot immediately and indiscriminately. But but then the very last, I'm not going to go through the rest of this, but the last one says, I'm not going to go all by myself. Open carry is very illegal in Illinois. We can't even carry pocket knives with a blade over 2.5 inches. So they're getting nervous. And I've also heard other things too, where they're starting to feel like armed conflict is going to be in. Yeah, thanks, Doherty one. They're starting to feel like armed conflict is going to be inevitable.
It seems like that's where they're pushing it. I mean, when you listen to the statements coming from the politicians and you see how the police is reacting to Antifa, you're pushing this towards an armed conflict, whether you like it or not.
Well, and I think that's where Trump is playing with the optics here. Because if he goes in and starts doing all of these things and arresting and thumping heads, and you have kind of like the same situation they had at Kent State University in Ohio during Vietnam War. The optics here have to be played very carefully to where Trump cannot. I don't want to say Trump because it's not just Trump doing this.
The government.
We use that word. That's better. The government can't just go in there and start thumping heads like that. Otherwise, they turn out to be the bad guy. If they can continue doing what they're doing and provoke Antifa into a level of violence, then the optics are flipped.
Okay.
Because now the mainstream media doesn't have the bullhorn anymore. The alternative right media has the bullhorn now, and just like we see with Nick Sordor and some of these other folks that are being Katie Daviscourt, they're able to go in and actually flip the script now.
Okay. Because but my question would be, it's been a long time since I've been back to the U.S. and the times when I was in the U.S. we never saw these kinds of problems. And my question was coming. Okay. Trump is now talking about the Insurrection Act. He's saying that, I may activate the Insurrection Act. And I'm almost wondering how much is he going to tolerate before he says, okay, that's it. Insurrection Act we're invoking. And now if you're causing disturbances, we will charge you under that act.
I'll put it like this. It's not going to be a what if, it's going to be when.
Okay.
He's going to do it. And that's he's Chicago is I want to say it's the starting point. If that bozo mayor out there, Brandon Johnson, does what he says he's going to do, he can absolutely invoke the Insurrection Act, and that's when you're going to start seeing shit pop off.
Because that was
that's my assessment of it anyway.
Because that was my question. Because when you listen to Trump talk, you can tell he's getting more and more ticked off. You can tell he's getting more and more pissed off day by day as things go on. And someone asked a question the other day when he was in the Oval Office, and he said, I'm considering invoking the Insurrection Act. This was a statement that never came out of Donald Trump's mouth before, and all of a sudden, boom, there it was. That yes, I'm considering it. At the same time, when all the generals and admirals were called to Quantico, he said it then as well that Pete, what if we start using this military and having them come out and handle some of these problems as a training mission, send them out and let them handle all these riots and all these problems. He's given a couple indications that that red line has been crossed. So my question was, how much more is he going to tolerate? And I agree with you. Chicago, with the way Brandon Johnson is talking, Chicago is the final line.
He's waiting for the inflection point. That's what he's waiting on. Once that inflection point gets crossed, that's when I think you'll see him do it. And
Okay.
it's not going to be the government that's going to incite that inflection point. It has to be Antifa.
Okay, so what Trump is actually waiting for is for them to go to the level that the government is actually reacting to their violence rather than being the creator of the violence.
Right. They're waiting for another 2020 to kick off. That's what I assess.
Got it. Okay. That's all we've got for you tonight. We kind of went through this really quick, S2.
Yeah, we did. We did.
But there's a lot of layers here. S2 and I take this because both of us are very experienced in respective sides. S2 understands Antifa better than anyone else I know. And
I wouldn't go there. Dr. Karlin Boroshenko knows him way better than I do.
I qualified with anyone I know. I didn't say
Yeah.
The problem we've got right now is that there are so many forces moving in the US right now. You've got jihadis, you've got foreign intelligence, you have foreign governments, you have Antifa, you have cartels, you have gangs. If you check my X, the Command 11 X, you'll see we posted the picture of the guy who put out the bounties on ICE officials. The level that we're getting to now, we kept saying that if you go back and read our assessment, you'll see where we said over and over, there will be trigger events. These are all trigger events. One capitalizes on another, another capitalizes on another. It goes back to that small wars theory I keep talking about. 1 boom, 2 boom, 3 boom, 4 boom, boom, big explosion. That is the small wars theory.
It's the color revolution playbook.
And it's being done in the US for the first time. I mean, this has been done in so many foreign countries that it's so difficult. If you go back and if you look at all the foreign countries that have been collapsed with the color revolution, including Ukraine, the most recent, it's exactly the model you're seeing in the US right now. It's exactly the model you're seeing in the US right now. And I'm going to point this out. Please go out and check Sarah Adams's posts today. She laid out a internal Hamas document that she's got her hands on, and she's laid out the attack plan that was put together for October 7th. If you read through that attack plan, it matches exactly what we're saying for what is going to happen here in the U.S. with the coordinated complex terrorist attacks. And there was 25 targets on October 7th based on the document that she got.
I actually think I got a hold of that about a year ago.
Yeah. There's rumors that
it was the document that surfaced through the IDF.
Yep. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. That people say that the IDF knew that Hamas was going to attack and what they were going to do.
Well, they created Hamas. No kidding.
Well, we know that October 7th was trained in Afghanistan. That entire attack plan was trained out in Afghanistan. So there are a lot of people that knew what was coming. I saw a story right before we went on air. CNN was saying that, and I know it's not credible when CNN says it, but CNN was saying that before the October 7th attack in Israel, there was a huge influx of people shorting or selling Israeli stock, Israeli company stock right before October 7th, which is what happened at 9/11 as well. A lot of the airlines stock was shorted because people knew what was coming.
Well, actually, if CNN is saying it, it's actually pretty credible because they were embedded with Hamas when October 7th went off. So I'd
Really
say, yeah,
interesting, because I saw the story and I went, okay, wait, I've got to dig into this one and find out if CNN's credible on this one or not, because CNN's lost a lot of their credibility.
yeah. All the footage that you saw, that was they had journalists embedded with Hamas.
Okay. So they were actually the ones videoing most of what happened on October 7th.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Okay. Quick question. I don't know if you saw it. There was a poll that was put out about whether active duty military should be used to quell the problem in the US. Only 26% of Americans said that they should use active duty military. Do you think that's credible?
That's a double-edged sword.
Explain.
I'm trying to find the words to explain that. The double-edged sword, you have the Posse Comitatus Act, which basically
Right.
says no military, no active duty military, combat military can be deployed on United States soil. But at the same time, the National Guard, and I'll use this in terms of, we're talking about the jihadis at this point.
Right.
In terms of the National Guard, and I would say 99.9% of law enforcement is not equipped to handle this. They've not seen this before. They don't know. They're not getting the training for it. They're not being briefed on it. And we've talked about this ad nauseum. And if you're starting to talk about terrorist attacks on U.S. soil, there are not random but planned, and we have proof of that plan, which I believe we do. We have adequate evidence to make this real. I don't see any other way than to have actual military go hunting.
Yeah. That's my point of view as well. But how? Okay, because I've forgotten constitutional law now. How does the president suspend posse comitatus?
Man, you're asking me a hard question. I don't have the answer right off the top of my head. I'm sorry.
Because I remember, I studied my mind.
I think it would be in terms of an invasion. If an invasion occurred on our soil, is
Right.
one way that could be suspended.
Right.
There are other instances in which that could be done, but I can't think of them right off the top of my head. You kind of blindsided me with that one.
When I was in university, my minor was law. I remember my constitutional law kind of. What I understood it to be was that the president had to put together an executive order that had to go to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court had to agree that yes, you can suspend posse comitatus. That was my understanding, because it's a constitutional question. And I don't think that the legislative branch is involved in suspending that. When you declare war on another country, then you have to ask Congress. But when you suspend posse comitatus, I don't think you have to bring Congress into it. I think you just notify Congress, and it has to go to the Supreme Court, and they have to agree it. Because
that would be kind of like what he's doing with the Venezuelan government right now. Where he's just indiscriminately blowing boats out of the water that are carrying drugs or people into the United States.
Yep.
So I consider that to be an invasion. So we've been under a state of emergency since 2020.
Yeah. But when Trump came into power, into office, that's when the U.S. actually started to react to what was going on. Before that, there was nothing. I mean, Biden was auto pen. He didn't care what was happening. So
he didn't know what was happening.
That was the other problem. Let me ask another difficult question. Do you think that if this escalates and the president has to invoke the Insurrection Act, do you think he will declare martial law for a certain amount of time?
I'm not going to knee jerk this one. I don't think he would. I think if we had to suspend the Posse Comitatus Act, I think there would be enough already in play to not have to do that.
Okay. So
Yeah,
you
I
don't
mean, it
think
would
we
be
would,
if you
you
saw
don't
military on the street, if you saw military on the street to quell all of the rioting and everything that's going on,
right?
you're pretty much already there. And at
Yeah.
that point, I think he would leave it to the local authorities to handle those situations the way they need to. So
Okay.
you might have the really bad areas that might be under curfew or something like that, and enforce that curfew. But I think that they would leave that up to the local authorities to determine what that's all about.
Okay. Okay. Because that's a question we've been debating for 2 months now. Is would the Trump administration declare martial law if things kicked off, whether it be the jihadis, whether it be Antifa? Would he go to that step and say martial law? I suspend everything now, and I am going
I,
to.
I don't think he would do that.
Okay.
The
Okay.
optics would be really, really bad.
Yeah, for the U.S. to declare martial law, that would be really bad. I mean, that would turn a lot of people in a very wrong direction around the world. How could the U.S. declare martial law?
Well,
I mean,
even more so, it would turn more people against the government than what are already against the government,
yeah,
because now they get to turn around and the communists get to point their finger and say, "See, we told you he was a dictator. We told you
yeah,
he was a fascist."
that's
So
true.
once again, he's walking a very fine line as far as the optics go, and he has to.
Yeah,
That's why
yeah,
a lot of people are complaining that it's been however many months now, we haven't seen one arrest. Well, you've seen an indictment.
yeah,
James Comey's he's getting arraigned tomorrow.
yeah,
They bumped that up for from the 9th to the 8th.
yeah.
So that's happening. There's going to be a lot. I said October is going to be a very busy month, and it's only 7 days into it.
7 days and we've already started saying busy, busy. What
Yeah.
I'm going to ask this question. Answer it however you choose. What do you think about the geofencing that was done at the Charlie Kirk Memorial?
That was mostly done to get information about people that were there. And it- frankly, I think it was mostly done for advertising, because I have several burner email accounts. I wasn't there, but I have several burner email accounts that I've never subscribed to anything with Turning Point USA, never.
Right,
And now
right.
my burner email accounts are getting flooded with TPUSA emails.
Really?
Yeah,
And you weren't there?
no. So I think it was more for marketing than anything else. I think the speculation that they're collecting this information for Israel. First off, we have to stop talking about Israel. We need to start talking more along the lines of the Zionists. That's a statement that I saw somebody say out on X today that I fully agree with. It's not the Jewish people, it's the
Yep,
Zionists that are doing all of this crap.
yep, yep. Likud is a Zionist party. That is without doubt.
Yeah. So,
But
I mean,
the problem is, and I'm gonna put this up because the anti-Semitism thing is floating on every single platform now.
yeah, we'll
How
probably get burned for talking about this, by the way.
how do you separate the two? How do you separate the two? Because you see a lot of Jewish people coming out and saying this is not Judaism. What is going on right now is not Judaism. And it's the same problem you have with the Muslims.
I was
That
going
you have,
to say it's the same thing with Islam. You've got the radicals, and then you've got the real ones.
yep,
It's no longer about Republican and Democrat. It's no longer about um, Zionist or actual Jewish people. It's no longer about the radical Islam versus the real Muslim. It's about good and evil. And
yeah,
if you put it in that lens, it's easy to separate the two.
yeah, yeah, and
You just have to
a
look
lot,
at their actions versus their behaviors.
yeah, yeah. I don't know. I mean, I see the problem I see is that you've got a lot of you now have Judaism fighting the same problem that Islam is fighting. And a lot of Christianity has already faced this when they had the corrupt churches that were making money for the pastor or for the mega church. And
Oh, you
the
mean the
people,
evangelicals?
yeah. Yeah, I didn't want to go that far, but yeah. I've been to a bunch of evangelical churches. They
Yeah,
make
get your hot Jesus here. Send me all your money.
they make a lot of money. I mean, I was shocked at the kind of money they turn over. And I went to little. I mean, the church I went to, maybe 800 members, and when that collection plate went around, 20s, 50, $100 were being dropped into the collection plate. I'm going, oh my God, how much money are these people making? But that was the time of Jim Baker, Jerry Falwell.
It's still going on.
What's that one? Kenneth Copeland.
Yeah, it's still going on. I mean, all of those are still going on, and you've got these new mega churches that are popping up all over the place. You can't swing a dead cat in South Carolina without running into one of them.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I'm serious.
Oh man, that's where I think you're moving with South Carolina.
No, I mean they keep to themselves, but I mean it's like every other place. I mean, even North Carolina's got these mega churches that are popping up all over the place.
Right.
But yeah, everywhere you go, they're popping up. In fact, there was one there. I think there was a scandal a couple of years ago about one of these evangelicals fooling around on his wife or something on a men's retreat or something, and
They all do.
you know,
All
yeah,
evangelical, that
yeah,
one.
yeah. So Charles Williams telling us Nashville, they got him in Nashville too. Yeah,
Yep. Double 07 Black Dot. Copeland is a demon. Yes, without doubt. But okay, there was a comment that went through, and I didn't touch it that time, but I'm going to bring it up now. Do you think this is all just a distraction to set something else up? I mean, is this? I'll put it the way I was thinking. Do you think this is all distraction to set the state up to get onto the Palantir system fully and bring Patriot Act 2.0 out?
I'd say that everything is on the table and nothing is off the table.
You took the political answer. You went political on me, man. I expected a straight answer.
No, it's not a political answer. I'm just saying we don't know what we don't know.
Yeah.
And at this point, what I do know is Larry Ellison has taken control of some more media stuff. He's taken control of TikTok. He's taken control of Paramount. I think MGM and a bunch of other things too. And that tells me a lot because Larry Ellison of Oracle created the database for the social credit score in China.
Yep. That I know. That.
So that's what I see. I think there is something coalescing.
Yeah.
In the background that we're not seeing, and we don't have all of the puzzle pieces yet. I mean, let's face it. It doesn't matter if Palantir came on the scene or not. The American government has been spying on its citizens for decades. I mean, they just up the ante with the technology now. It's just easier for them to do it.
Yeah, agreed. It's just because that Palantir card is still hanging up there, and we know it's been deployed in Europe at a great extent. It's been deployed in Europe already. The question I was, floating with is, if this is all a setup to allow Palantir to be deployed so that everyone accepts it, because if you tried to deploy Palantir right now, no one would buy it. Because, I mean, we had the poll that was just taken in the UK, and 2.7 million UK citizens said, we do not want the digital ID. And Keir Starmer turned around and said, I don't care what you have to say. I'm still going to go ahead with my plan.
Well, he also said, I believe, was it today or yesterday, that if any Americans that are coming to Europe or coming to the UK don't want digital ID, then they won't be allowed entry.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh, that makes me feel so bad.
Yeah. I saw another one. The EU is doing two things. The EU has put a bill forward in front of their parliament that all messaging apps, whether it be Facebook, or whether it be WhatsApp, whether it be Signal, whatever it may be. The EU wants a backdoor so they can read people's messages. And Signal is the only platform of all of them that has turned around and said, if you pass this law, we will turn off Signal for all of Europe. Anyone who's in Europe, we will turn it off. That you
Good luck
cannot
with
use
that.
all the platform.
Good luck with that.
What are you saying? To look to Signal, or are you saying to the EU?
I'm saying it to EU. Good luck with turning off Signal.
Yeah, but my question, because what I'm building up to a question. You've got the Digital Security Act in the UK, where we've seen arrests now on social media posts. Canada is trying to pass what is called the C8 legislation, which means if they think you are a threat, they can turn off your entire telecom service, all of it. They can turn it off. And with Palantir, you would have the same thing in the US, where they would have complete control over what you were saying, how you were doing it, what you were doing. And on top of that, I can't remember who said it, 2030, there will no longer be cell phones because all of that communication will be built inside the human body, whether it be a chip or whatever it may be, that will be inside the human body. It's like everything is pumping to
It's
one.
it's transhumanism. It's a transhumanism agenda.
Is that where we're headed? Is that what the globalists are pushing right now? Is transhumanism?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. That was where I was headed with this one, because I couldn't figure it out. I was sitting and looking at it going, wait a minute. You've got this going on in Europe. You've got this going on in the UK. You've got this in Canada. The US has hesitated on hitting social media. Kash Patel the other day in an interview said social media is out of control. It's all clickbait, and we need to control social media, which was the first time I've heard anyone in the US start talking about, what's going on in social media. And I turned around and went, the easiest way to stop clickbait, stop monetization.
Yep.
If you don't get paid for it, then you're not going to be putting clickbait out anymore.
Yep. And start recognizing the bot accounts and the accounts that are out there that are just doing it for the clicks. Let's start understanding that and don't interact with them. It's just simple as that. It's nothing more than turning off your television set if you don't like what's on.
Exactly. Yep, that's where it is. But that was the process I was going through. Is this is going on here? This is going on here. This is going on here. Is that what's going on in the U.S.? Because a lot of people are saying that all of this stuff going on in the U.S. is a psyop. And for a second there, I got into it as well. Went, could it be? Could it be all little game?
It's a new conspiracy theory. Thank God, because all of mine have come true.
Yeah. We've run out of them. You and I have come up with a bunch of them. Well, could this be this? Could this be this?
Like I said, we don't know what we don't know, and it's just going to be. Unfortunately, we're going to have to wait and see how the puzzle pieces start to come together. And I personally don't think it's too late, as long as the human race wakes up and understands what's happening to them, rather than saying, "Oh, well, I can't do anything about it." No, you absolutely can, because we have proven that the power of the voice can make a difference.
Yeah. Now I'm going to ask one question, and this is a question that only you can answer. Do you think that with the new push, the new revival of Christianity, Bibles being bought at a higher volume, people going back to church on a more regular basis, do you think that can stop what's going on?
Yes, absolutely. If people start getting back into their Bibles again and start living a moral life again, all of this stuff can go away. Am I going to say that it's going to stop overnight? No. This is a war that our kids and our grandkids will be fighting.
Yeah.
And it is a war. It's a war for your soul. And as long as people start looking at the old ways and the way people used to live and what their morality was, I don't think it's too late. And especially if they start getting into the Bible and start understanding the Bible more,
Yeah.
and understanding what it says. I mean, there was for the Gentiles, there was a small book that was written for the Gentiles. It was an instruction book. It was called the Didache,
Okay.
and that was written for the Gentiles, the people that weren't Jewish, and
Right.
that basically taught you how to worship and how to live. It was kind of like a subset of the Ten Commandments.
Okay. All right. Okay. Because
But
I understand it this way. When people are going to church and they are following the Bible and the gospel, all of these problems will calm down, because then parents will control their children. Parents will be in control themselves of their own, urges. And a lot of things will start to come under control. And that's why I put the question out there, because after Charlie Kirk was murdered, a lot of things have come. There's been a revival in Christianity.
well, this was happening before Charlie Kirk was assassinated. That's
Okay.
air quotes there for you. Um,
Yeah.
this was this was starting to occur before that happened, so it was well on its way. This was just a catalyzing moment, is what it was.
Yeah. Yeah. It was like the push that Christianity needed.
Yeah, I think so.
Got it. Okay. All right. Well, that's all we got for you tonight. Nick, if you can give us our hero of the day slide. Check this out. This is a great video. I've seen this a couple times.
This is sardines. I don't know if y'all can see it, but it's okay. It's okay. Will you have it already? Ready? 3, 2, wait. When I say 1, don't go yet. 3, 2, 1, point. I'm used to it. You okay? Are you okay? Are you okay? Hold on. Let me go get mom. This is sardines.
And that is why you teach your kids basic first aid and
I'm not
CPR.
cleaning up that mess.
No, let the kids clean it up. But I mean, if that little girl didn't know what to do, God only knows what
Mhm.
would happen to her little brother. And
Yep.
that's, again, this is why you need to spend time with your kids and teach them the values, the basic things they need in the world. Because if she didn't know CPR, game over. That little boy didn't have a chance.
Yep, exactly.
And that's it for us tonight. Tomorrow
Oh,
we'll
no,
be
it's
back.
not. We still got the
Oh,
conflicted question.
Yes.
I'm going to start calling you Chris because he forgets it too. Oh, there we go. I'm back again.
Yep.
So, for all of you out there, I want you to hit and smash that like button or that thumbs up button. And we want to see your answers in the chat too. This is important. This is why we do this. So, here we go. After a meteor shattered the country and parts of the world, a war for resources broke out, which left the political scene in complete chaos. Your local community has been completely destroyed, and after months of struggling to survive, communists appear, offering help. They can provide food, medicine, water, shelter, and the conveniences that you haven't had in years. All they ask in exchange is that you join them. Disease and hunger have crippled your group, and your loved ones are suffering beyond belief. Would you join them or not? And why?
That's like asking me to join a terror group, man. I mean, that's like asking me to join a terror group. But they'll give me this, and this, and well, I just follow their ideology. I couldn't do it. I just could not do it.
And that will be until the moment that they ask you to strap on a suicide vest.
Yeah, we gave you this, so now you do this for us. And no, I'm sorry, not communism, not terrorism. No, I will not do it. It doesn't matter to me. That's where I stand.
No. Okay, so here's what we do. For all of you that would join them, I want to see a 1. For all of you that would not join them, I want to see a 2 in the chat.
Yeah. And everybody goes quiet.
Yeah, I know. I'm not seeing any 1s or 2s. There's a 2. Arthur's a 2. Everybody's a 2.
Yep.
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 Nope. I wouldn't join them either. I have the skills to be able to survive without them. I don't care how bad the country is.
Yeah.
I'll find a place.
Yeah. There's always a way. I mean, you just join the communists? No. Come on. No. Will not happen. Will not happen. But that's all we've got for you tonight. Thank you all for joining us. We'll be back tomorrow. We will have our regular panel, and we'll pick back up where we were on the threat within arc that we started now. Tomorrow night, Mike Glover is with us, and it will have a very interesting conversation, because whenever Mike's with us, we go tactical. Mike is an excellent tactical strategist. So we'll be back with you tomorrow night, and like, share, comment. Let's get more people involved in watching this, because the advice we're giving you, it may seem like it's not going to happen, but trust us, this is confirmed intelligence. The US is under threat, and it's going to be the next 2-3 months. And it's just, you're seeing it ramp up now. Antifa's ramping up. That's your trigger. And once the trigger goes off, then everybody else will kick off. Watch Europe for the next month. This month, October, Europe is going to pop. You'll see it in small countries first, and then it will pop off across Europe. And that will give you your understanding of what you can expect here in the US. But until tomorrow night, thank you for joining us. Like, share, and comment. And God bless America.
Hoorah.
The image is disturbing.
Hijo Vargas, no te rajes, Jalisco.
Us into a shutdown. They thought they could bludgeon us and threaten us and scare us.
Open it, Chucky.
The next time you have something to say about me,
Viva Gorditas.
to a racist and fake AI video,
Bless you, Taco Bell.
say it to my face.